Tonight, some Atlanta families are fighting to save their neighborhood schools.
The school board expected to vote on a plan that would shutter multiple school buildings and then repurpose them. Atlanta News First, Bridget Spencer is live at APS headquarters tonight, where that meeting started moments ago. Bridget?
Right, and the board is considering a plan that would affect 16 schools across Atlanta Public School District. Now, some of the schools are being recommended to close entirely, and some of the others are recommended for updates and restructuring on some of those older buildings. But it's very clear that not all parents and community members are happy to hear this. The district cites declining enrollment as a huge factor in this plan. There have been a series of meetings over the last several months that we've been covering, and among the schools on the chopping block are Dunbar Elementary, which some Mechanicsville community members have been fighting to keep. We spoke to one organizer just moments ago who tells us she heard feedback from many Dunbar parents, and she hopes the board can make the right choice tonight.
The solution to under-enrollment is not to take schools away from the thousands of students who are showing up to class. If that school gets closed, they're going to have to cross the downtown connector to get to school.
And the district tells us if this is approved, it could save them between $20 to $25 million. Of course, that meeting just started at 6 o'clock. Public comment just wrapped up, and the vote is expected within the next hour and a half or so. This is something we're going to follow and bring you updates as we learn more. We're live from Atlanta Public Schools headquarters. Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.